Hey everyone, it's Keyboard007 and we got another organization event. It is the 13th of the month again, and that means we have Saïx. This is July the 7th month, so we have the 7th member. He kind of looks a little Nazi-ish in that pose, but whatever. So, for some reason, this event goes from the 13th to the 24th, which is about 12 days. Which is longer than the usual week they always would give us for one of these events, so I don't understand that at all. The 13th event arrives on the 13th of every month. This month's featured Organization 13 member is number 7, the Luna Diviner, Saïx. 13 event quests will be available during this period. By completing these quest objectives, you can earn prizes such as exclusive Saïx B medal and the Saïx style avatar part and more. What he does is, he's a power, reverse, thank God he's power, tier 3 obviously, 5 gauge, random target, deals 12 hits, inflicts more damage the more gauges are full. So that's an interesting medal. It's high cost, but when I looked at its multiplier, which we'll look at the end of this video, I was like, holy shit, this is the new Meowjesty, like, on crack. So that's pretty awesome. Let's jump right in. One thing I gotta say as a disclaimer, I was a little disappointed with the way this was stylized. Every objective from here to the 13th is the same, complete without having to continue. Every enemy is the werewolf from the Cinderella quest. Probably because he has a little transforming thing, so I guess it represents his berserk state, but I think it was kind of weak sauce in trying to represent our boy Saïx. I was expecting something more interesting and more varied, but it kind of got boring real fast, and it's really not that hard, especially because it's complete without having to continue, because you could turtle it. I haven't turtled it, I powered through it. The 13 quest could be difficult, but I'm sure there are ways to do it. So let's just start. I'm going to read off only the rewards because the objectives are literally complete without having to continue for every single quest 3 times. So for this first one, Organization number 7, Saïx number 1, we get Huey, Dewey, Louie, a Louie, and 20 jewels. Our target is Werewolf level 25. Now I'm always excited for a new organization medal, so I'll try to be a little more enthusiastic even though I'm disappointed. I'm going to be using this build of Divine Rose for the first several, like I think up to 5 or 7, and then I'm going to switch to another Divine Rose build. Everything's going to be Divine Rose. And I incorporated our new boy Eevee here. No traits or skills or anything like that, just using it for pure ability. So the number above the beast gets smaller as you attack. Once it reaches 0, watch out, don't let it shred you to pieces or you'll be howling in pain. This is a very accurate statement because every single one of these is based on, like, he has a blue counter above his head, which means hit number, not medal number. And when you reach 0, even the 3 defense boost 3s won't save you from that onslaught. I tried. So every quest has a gauge box, like so, and a wolfie. Sometimes he's by himself, sometimes he has friends. It starts off really simple at a 50, so as I demonstrate, it's probably bad to have a Bell and Beast because it takes 5 hits out of that number. Because it's 5, it deals 5, so it goes down by hit number. So you want to lower your hits when you get to the harder ones. I'm just going to blow his ass up with a Nova. I'm mostly going to be fast forwarding majority of these quests because there's really nothing to show until it gets a little more down the road. So I'm going to be quiet from this point on besides rewards. And you get 20 jewels, a Louie, and a Huey, Dewey, Louie. Also, I forgot to mention, when you do the 13 quest, you know, usually one of the prizes is a title. The title never popped for me after I earned it, so I can't show you that screenshot at the end of this because I never got it, so I'm really pissed off. That might happen to you. I never had it glitch like that before, so I contacted Senna. We'll see what happens, because I'm really disappointed to not have my collection complete with the titles. Alright, moving on to number 2. We have a mirror, Huey, and 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 50. Everything else stays the same, even the little description for the monster. Now it's on this side. It's still pretty weak, so I'm just going to still blow it up with my Nova, but you see now he has some friends with up PSM boost. And you get 20 jewels, Huey, and a mirror. This will probably be the quickest organization event I've ever filmed because of how straightforward these objectives are. Alright, now we're on to part 3, our first Saïx B medal, a Dewey, and 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 75. He's all over this map. Now he has a little bit more health, and he has a posse of healers. Those two are taken out fairly easy enough. And you get 20 jewels, a Dewey, and your first Saïx B medal. Moving on to part 4. You get a Huey, Dewey, Louie, a Louie, and 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 100. First thing I want to mention is they lowered the cost of his activation down to 25, so that's getting a little significant. It's not enough for me to change loadouts just yet. When it reaches 15 I have to, but just showing you it dropped from 50 to 25 in only a few matches. You get 20 jewels, a Louie, and a Huey, Dewey, Louie. Alright, moving on to part 5. We get another Saïx B medal, that's our second one. We get a Huey, and we get 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 150. Okay, now he's 25 with friends, but they're weak friends, so we'll do the same strategy. So we get our 20 jewels, our Huey, and our second Saïx B medal. Moving on to part 6. You get a mirror, a Dewey, and 20 jewels for Werewolf level 200. Alright, now this one we have to change our build a little bit. I have to be more conscientious of the fact that hits equal activation. So I have Aerial, which is a one-hit AoE, and I have Smee, which is a one-hit AoE down defense with extra. I lowered to Tama, which does 3 hits, and kept the rest the same. Now if you remember Zexion's event, it had a special little archer that had a counter on its head, which would activate and put you to sleep. Okay, so we have that here, but he's a poison archer, which is very dangerous because even with second chance, poison will kill you. So we'll do 1. I'm going to Nova, because I can't let him hit me with that. Down defense single target attacks. You get 20 jewels, a Dewey, and a mirror. Moving on to part 7, we get a mirror, a Louie, and 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 225. So that puppy's growing. Alright, so now Wolfie has lowered himself to a 15 activation counter. So my single target hit attacks are way more important at this point in the game. You get 20 jewels, a Louie, and a mirror. Moving on to part 8. You get a Saïx B medal, your third one. You get a Huey, and you get 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 250. Once again, he's at 15 and he has friends. And this little beauty, it's going to copy Sephiroth. It has attack boost 4 max, and it has negative ground defense and extra, thanks to Sin. You get 20 jewels, a Huey, and your third Saïx B medal. We are up to that fabled number 9 quest where we get the avatar parts. So you get Saïx style boy, Saïx style girl, and 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 275. This medal is even more important than ever now. Just to reiterate, thanks again to Sin for having this amazing sky medal. Attack boost 4 max, extra, and ground enemy defense really saves the day when it comes to beating the 13th challenge. Couldn't have done it without him. At least I couldn't power through it without him. And you guys know I like to power through things. So, Wolfie brought Ringmaster to play. He also has a hit counter above his head. A little more friendly than the wolves, but annoying nonetheless. We'll make short work of both of them. And you get 20 jewels in Saïx style twice for boy and girl. I'll show off the Saïx avatar parts at the end of the video like I usually do. Moving on to part 10. Now it's getting a little bit more difficult. We get our 4th Saïx B medal, a Louis, and 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 300. So this is the quest where second chance 2 is muy importante, my friends. The only way to survive from here on out is second chance. He's down to 10 now. And he's gonna kill me right about now. Now, something I want to mention here. Since this is the first time it happens, you see he transforms, he goes ballistic, and kills you when he hits 0. That's 1 point. Second of all, his counter resets back to whatever it was. Third of all, you'll notice something interesting. Something else important I noticed is you'll see he still has his negative defense downs, his negative PSM downs. I still have my 3 attack buff and my PSM buffs. Now, you would think this isn't weird because some of them last 2 turns, but not all of them last 2 turns. One special thing that happens, which is a great thing you could take advantage of, when he goes ballistic and kills you and you come back to life, you're still in the same turn. Aerial only gives you it for 1 turn. Smee only does it down for 1 turn. All the buffs and debuffs you did before dying count, and they stay. So if I go up, suddenly I'm up 6. And now his defense is down to 4. It's insane. You can really stack your buffs in that 1 chance you get when you come back to life. Never forget that. That's a very key thing. And you get 20 jewels, a Louis, and your 4th Saïx B medal. Moving on to part 11. You get your 5th Saïx B medal, a Huey, and 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 325. Remember what I said, friends. Those stacked buffs are very important. I don't know if this works on every enemy with a counter above its head that does something crazy, but it's the first time I've actually paid attention and noticed because we're fighting the same guy so many times. So we have 2 armored soldier guys with up PSM 3 buffs. And now once again, like in the last one, we're going to die and come back to life and keep our buffs. I go to up 6. He did down my power defense by 1 with that assault of his. We get 20 jewels, a Huey, and our 5th Saïx B medal. Moving on to part 12. This is where it gets a little bit difficult, but not as crazy as 13. You get your 6th Saïx B medal, a Dewey, and 20 jewels. Werewolf is now level 350. This one is semi-dangerous. So this one has all your little archer buddies. The one on the bottom does poison. The one with the lightning bolt that's powerless, and we know a sleepy archer. So instead of activating all them, we're gonna blow their asses up. You get 20 jewels, a Dewey, and your 6 Saïx B metal. So another way to approach that last mission would be a couple of single target medals that only target the wolf defense down and stuff like that, because you really do not want to activate those archers. They are bad news, and you only have 2 chances to activate them. You could do 1 AoE hit like I did with Ariel, but if I would have did my SME, it would have been over. I would have got hit with every single status at once. Moving on to the final one. Holy shit. Number 13, your 7 Saïx B metal, your title, which I did not get because it didn't pop up for some reason, 20 jewels, and the werewolf has gone up 500. It's level 500. It was 350, now it's 500. That's a bit of a power creep if you ask me. To deal with this new beefed up wolf, we have to change our build significantly. First of all, I have my illustrated Kyrie with defense boost 3. It has ground enemy defense, but really irrelevant. I have Key Art Bonds with defense boost 3. No traits. That's the copy Kyrie because it's a single target. I need second chance 2, no matter what. He's here only for defense boost 3. So that's 3 defense boost 3 medals. My strong attacking medal. And of course, this. I will explain why. Okay, so walking right into this, it is ridiculous. First of all, the wolf has gone down to 5 hits. 5 hits trigger the wolf now. You also have this, I forgot his name, the double claw guy. He has a 4 metal counter on him, that's why it's red. So 4 metal attacks on him will activate him, which automatically paralyzes you. And then you have the floating invisible, which I forgot the name of it, but in multiplayer they had a name for him. Anyway, he is also level 500, and he's probably the most annoying enemy here after you take down the other 2, because he floats, so you can't ground enemy defense him. He's plus 55 health bars, and he has a chance of paralyzing you when he attacks. His buffs also go crazy after a while. So we're going to start off simply like this. Kyrie on him, because he has no counter above his head. Kyrie on him. That hits 1 for both of those. We're not using this. This will activate the wolf. So now we bring our buffs up. We are now a plus 7 buff, so I don't even need to use my last one. I can save the SP. And now I'm going to Nova. That blows up the guy that paralyzed me. I'm going to skip Kyrie this time. Skip that. And that takes care of the wolf. Now it's just a matter of defense boost 3ing this guy. Defense boost 3 will not work on the wolf super attack. I tried 3 of them. He paralyzed and poisoned me, but luckily I healed. And there you go. And your final rewards are 20 jewels, your title, and your 7 Saïx B medal. Congratulations. So I gotta say, I'm quite disappointed with the way this quest was. It was basically just the same guy with a little variation on each one, so it became really predictable. And the last quest, while it has its insane difficulty on one hand, if you have the right strategy, it's actually really, really easy. I beat it in 1 chance for you guys without having to restart and cut any pieces out. And here's the Saïx avatar. As you can see, it looks really cool. That's me with the Keyblade. That's without the Keyblade. So yeah, let's move on to trading our Saïx. We're not guilting because it's not a guild campaign, but we'll trade it. Alright, here we are. We have all those Saïx with their, looks like a Nazi regime. what he does is, his attack is called Banishing Moon, probably going to be +5 when we evolve it. Its damage is insane, 3.88 to 5.93. That is a sick multiplier. That's without any dots. It's a 5 gauge, random attack, deals 12 hits, inflicts more damage the more gauges are full. This is why I said it's going to be the new Meowjesty, because that kind of multiplier with a random is basically, if you use it as a single target medal, it's going to be insane. Alright, so let's add some traits to this bad boy. I'm aiming for negative ground defense or negative air defense. Alright, so I got negative air so far. You know, we got a 3 dot one and 2 dot the other to guilt them. So he's ready to evolve. Let's take a look at that awesome new picture. Let's get rid of Hitler Saïx, and he's all ready to go berserk. So now we can see, like I said, it says Banishing Moon +5. The effect didn't change. The damage multiplier went up to about 6.25 with a few dots. His strength before maxing out the level is 5,647. Defense is 5,534. Pretty high. So now we swap to dealing with the other Saïx B medal. Okay, so it's defense. So, at full power, it has 7,328 strength, 7,182 defense. That multiplier is probably going to go up to about 6.35, but like I said, I'm not guilting it right now. So it's pretty insane. It looks like we're going to keep the aerial defense trait because I didn't get negative ground, and I didn't really want to go with strength because it's only that 10% difference in power. So if I were guilting, I would do it like this, but we're not doing it out of a guilt campaign. So we finally got Saïx B. Like I said, he's going to be really strong as a single target in place of his randomness, because when you do random against single target, it's amazing. So let's take one last look at this nice picture.
Do you feel it? The moon's power.
So if I get negative ground defense when I guilt it, that's the trait I'll keep. Otherwise it's going to be negative air. As you saw, I could not do this without Sin's negative ground defense key art sky, so thank you so much, Sin, for that. Like I said, you could probably try to turtle that last one. I'll experiment with it, but it's still a bit of a doozy. I will guilt this and probably Zexion and all the other medals in a guilt campaign future video. Stay tuned for that whenever Senna decides to give us a guilt campaign. Peace out. Enjoy life.